Hey everybody, Dave Bazanko here, and welcome to day 16 of our 30-day self-motivation challenge. And today what we're going to be talking about is moving from a selfish perspective to a selfless perspective. And that's something you may not have considered when it comes to being self-motivated, but I think you're going to really enjoy the conversation today. And the question I really want you to think about is it possible for you to reach your goals while keeping your marriage intact? Now, that's presuming that you're married. If you are in a relationship, let's call it keeping your relationship intact. Because having lofty goals requires you to be very selfish with your time and your energy. And at some point, if you want to maintain those relationships around you, you're going to have to learn how to move from a selfish mindset to a selfless mindset. That's not only going to help you achieve your goals, but help you build up the relationships around you. Coming up, I'm going to be sharing my experience of how over the last 34 years, I've been able to develop a healthy, happy, resilient marriage, and how that is still intact, remarkably, and how we're still moving forward together as a couple. Now, what I learned in triathlon, especially in the Ironman circles, is that there's something called divorce by triathlon, which simply means that if you spend all of your time selfishly sucking up all of your time and energy, your available time and energy, and devote it towards one lofty, ambitious goal, and that goal never ends, it just keeps continuing and continuing, like doing one Ironman after another every year. If you spend all that selfish energy sort of balled up on yourself, you will start to lose the relationships of people around you. That's just a fact, and it's something that every triathlete knows. So if those relationships around you are important, then this is information that I think you're really going to want to pay attention to. So the first thing that I want to talk about is clarity of goals. Now, these are your personal goals, and if you are in a partnership, a relationship, a marriage, these could be a combined set of goals. But what I will say is this. My wife and I have always shared a very similar vision for what our future is. The thing is, you can envision having, a nice house, a nice cottage, a nice car, a nice boat. You can envision all those things. But the reality is there is no one roadmap that's going to get you there that you just simply follow, do the work, and it happens. That doesn't exist. There's going to be challenges along the way. And for you to remain self-motivated to keep moving forward, you're going to have to balance a lot of different things, a lot of different challenges along that journey. That's why I talk a lot about resilience. To me, resilience isn't about getting stuck or falling behind. It's about facing obstacles and challenges with an open mind, and then moving forward together as a couple if you're in a relationship, so that everybody feels like they're along that ride for the along the ride for the journey. I will say this: my son, my wife, and my daughter have all participated at some level in a triathlon with me. What I've done with my own selfish journey in learning to become a triathlete, that was very selfish with my time and energy, but I did it at a time when my kids were a little bit older. They were in their teens, and they didn't need me as much to be sort of there all the time. My son was driving. He could drive my daughter where she needed to go. There was less time required of me being the sort of caretaker and more the cheerleader. And that gave me and afforded me extra disposable time to chase bigger, loftier goals. That allowed me to spend more time and energy doing hard things, knowing that when I got back home, I may not have a ton of energy left over for everybody else. But that's just all part of the learning curve of whether you're chasing a business goal as an entrepreneur or you're chasing some sort of a fitness goal. You only have so much energy, and when that energy is gone, depleted, you're going to be in rough shape to deal with the people around you. So having everybody sort of on the same page and coming along the journey together is the first real step towards moving from that selfish to selfless mindset. So the second thing I want you to think about is building your relationship, not maintaining your relationship, but building it. Because what I learned in my journey is as I was I'm 58 years old. And what I can tell you is that my wife didn't want to get left behind. she was watching and supporting me go through this journey for the last 18 years. But there came a point in time where she went, hey, I got to get my butt in gear too. Like, I don't want Dave to be fit and healthy and for me to be not. That doesn't sound like the future that we want for ourselves. We want to be that active, healthy, older couple just who gets to enjoy life without limitations. But that requires a daily investment. So what I found was that while I was doing a lot of selfish things with my time and energy in training for Ironmans, my wife, I was inspiring her to do, chase after her fitness dreams as well. She's definitely never going to be an Ironman. That's not something she aspires to do. But she had other challenges, 5K runs and other things that she wanted to do that made her feel good about herself. And she found her groove through doing online workouts with Sydney Cummings. If you've ever heard of her online, check her out. She helps women go through these daily, weekly, monthly challenges for personal fitness. But, she's carved out, my wife has carved out her process for achieving her goals, and that's her time. When she comes home from work, she decompresses, she spends an hour working out. That's her selfish time. And that also, again, it allows her to decompress from work. And I know when she's done, she'll be less miserable about her job. She'll have blown off some steam. But you know what? She'll have had a long, hard day. And she may not have the energy to make dinner or clean up from dinner. Not that that's her role. As a matter of fact, in our household, I do 95% of the cooking. But there's also, the cleanup part of it, which she hates doing. And it's like sometimes I just do it, even though, we have this sort of agreement that I'll make dinner, she'll clean up, or she'll make dinner and I'll clean up. Some days I do both just because I've got the energy to do it, and I can see that she doesn't. I can see that she's still burnt out from her day. And so me being selfless, I'm not keeping score. I'm looking at the situation going, you know what? I've got more to give today. And I want us to be able to have quality time together. So if I can give her another 15 minutes to decompress after dinner and I can go ahead and do the dishes because I really don't care. I've done so many dishes in my life. I used to work at a university in the kitchen washing dishes. I've washed more dishes in a lifetime than anybody ever needs to. I'm beyond it being a gross activity or a difficult activity. I just knock it out, get it done, and on with our day. But the point is, my perspective is it used to be selfless. I would be like, oh man, I ran 10K today. Can you believe how tired I am? My legs are so sore. I used to have this really stupid mindset of, oh, poor me, I did all this work. I feel bad for myself. And then as I started becoming an Ironman and realizing really what hard work was, it really inspired me to start thinking about perspective more and going, okay, am I a miserable bear? Because that term was used quite often during my Ironman training, especially after a weekend of long training. My wife would say, oh, the bear's back, meaning that I would snap at people. My temper was there. I wasn't in a good headspace because I was tired and my energy was depleted. I wasn't thinking about other people. Now as I go through my training, and I tend to not do a lot of full Ironmans anymore, and I've only got, I think, one more in the bank, and that's when my son or if one of my friends ever wants to do one with me, that's the only time I'm going to scratch that itch again. In the meantime, I do half Ironmans because being, the grand idea, the vision is that we're going to have that healthy, happy lifestyle down the road well into our later years in life, but I don't have to train like an Ironman to get there. As a matter of fact, that's probably going to take more years off my life if I keep training that way for those big endurance events. But a half Ironman, boy, that's almost a walk in the park for me. It requires much less training, much less volume, much less energy. It allows me to achieve my fitness goals, but it also allows me to be present when my family needs me. It allows me to be present when situations occur. My daughter just got a job 4 hours away. And I know that at some point in the next 2 weeks, I need to move her. And we're going to take 2 days moving her up north to her new job. It's not on my calendar. It's something that's coming up. And I need to be flexible enough with my daily training to go, how am I going to train and spend 2 days up north moving my daughter into a new apartment? So again, what I've done is I've basically taken that goal and said, I don't have to be this lofty thing up here. I can be this thing right here and still achieve all of my long-term goals, which is never to stand on a podium at an Ironman or to do another Ironman. It's about finding things that make my heart sing, joy in my life. Exercise brings me joy, but I can do it in a way that I manage my energy so that I'm supporting the people around me. And that brings me to my final point, which is just sustainable balance. I've talked about it, the idea of I've done big, hard things. I know it's possible. The question is, do I want to keep doing it? When you're thinking about self-motivation and you're just getting started, whether it be a fitness goal or a professional goal or whatever, a personal goal, whatever it might be, in the beginning, you may set a goal sort of here, not realizing that here is possible. And in going through that realization that there's more to give and you go up to here, again, you become very selfish with your time and energy. But then when you get here and you look around from the top of the mountain and you go, okay, I can stay here, I can keep going farther, but why? Other than just to get a t-shirt and say I did something like for me, the Norseman, that is a Ironman on steroids is what that is. Look it up online, the Norseman Triathlon. It's in Norway. I've got a friend who did it. I would have loved to have done that race back when I was training for Ironman, but I'm past it now. It's not something that's on my bucket list of things to do. But if I had done that, that's a really selfish thing for me to do. It's all about me, not about anybody around me. When I did my second Ironman, I realized that my first Ironman experience really wasn't great for my family as a spectator. So in my second Ironman race, I booked us in at a really nice resort in Mexico so that my family could stay by the pool all day and just sort of come out and cheer when my GPS said I was coming by the resort on my bike, or come to the finish line when I'm done the run. I didn't need them to be out cheering me the whole time. They came out when it was required for them, but I made the experience good for them. My perspective, my balance said, I can't just make this about me. I got to think about everybody, right? And then when I did my last Ironman, I literally, because it was just my wife and I who went to it in Mont Tremblant, I got a room, a balcony overlooking the finish line, just in case my wife wanted to sit with a glass of wine and watch from the balcony rather than maybe standing out in the rain at the finish line waiting for me to come across. I tried to think about the other person involved who is supporting me in my goals so that they wouldn't feel left behind. So balance is really important when you think about self-motivation. Okay, if I'm going to be self-motivated to go out and do some big lofty goal, okay, to be self-motivated means I have to feel good about the situation. But if my relationships are falling apart because I'm being so selfish with my time and energy, you're not going to stay self-motivated very long to keep doing what you're doing, right? If you do, that's marching yourself off a cliff for no reason. So what I'm asking you to do today is just pick your head up with a little bit of perspective. Just ask yourself, is what you're doing completely selfish? And how can you just be a little more selfless in your journey? I always now sit back and think about how my decisions of my time and energy are going to impact people around me. And I try to have conversations like, I know in the beginning, my wife didn't want to let me down. So she supported me 100% whatever I did, not knowing what she was getting into. Neither did I. And now that we've gone through it, it's like, oh boy, yeah, I was really selfish with my time, my energy, our finances to pay for all of this. Maybe we went to an Ironman versus going on another vacation. Like, that's being really selfish with my time and energy and resources. I've learned since to be selfless and go, look, these other relationships, these other people around me, they're super important to me. And I don't want to lose them in this process of creating this new identity of this person that I want to be. How can we all move forward together? That's my goal, is to help us all move forward together and do it in a way that feels like we're all moving towards the same place. Because as soon as you feel like you're not a part of the journey, that's when things start to fall apart. And I don't want that for anybody who's going through any kind of big lofty goal or big lofty journey. So to recap, what I want you to do is I want you to think about everybody that is in your personal surroundings, in your partnership, your marriage, your relationships, whatever you've got around you that is your immediate family. Make sure that you all have clarity of what that end goal looks like, right? The end goal for me isn't crossing Ironman finish lines. It's being a healthy, happy husband to my wife and to my kids so that they don't have to take care of me when I'm 80 and 90. I'm self-sufficient to do that on my own. That's the goal. And I know from the science that you will be happier and healthier if you have more friends and family, if you've built up that relationship with people who are all on the journey with you together. As soon as you start leaving people behind, they feel it. They may not say it, but they feel it. And you don't want that, because that's when problems start to occur. You want everybody to feel like in their own way they are moving closer. You're all moving closer to that goal together. And sustainable balance, just make sure that when you're thinking about your resources, whether they be time, energy, money, think about your resources and think about, am I taking a balanced approach to this, whatever it is that I'm doing? Or is it to one extreme or the other? If everybody's going to be on the same page, everybody's going to be on the same page. You have to be on the same page to move forward, to stay self-motivated, to keep doing these things. And to keep your relationships intact. That's really the big takeaway for me today, is I just want you to, as you're thinking about being self-motivated, that grit and determination, I've said it before, that's selfish, man. When you have grit, determination, it's required, but it's selfish, and recognize that. And don't allow that to destroy the relationships of the people around you, okay? So if you found this information helpful, and I hope you did, if you found value in this, give me a like, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our 30-day challenge. There's more good information to come. Leave a comment below. Would love to start having conversations with the people who are watching these videos so I know what challenges you're facing, and maybe we can work through these things together. And tomorrow, what we're going to be talking about is, I've often said this, I've got a VIP blueprint for resilience. It's vision, identity, and proof. And I can apply that process to my financial health, to my personal well-being, to my professional well-being, and to my physical well-being. I think I said that right? Physical, financial, personal, and professional. I can apply that process to all 4 of those pillars of resilience. And I'm going to tell you, as soon as you start feeling stuck or you're falling behind, your ability to be motivated, it's going to go down the tubes. So you've got to have those things in mind. And when you do, when you've got all 4 of those items in check, your self-motivation is going to go through the roof, because you're going to feel like a winner every single day. So tomorrow, what I want to talk about, I touched on it a little bit today about that selfish to selflessness relationship with your time and energy. But I want to dig just a little bit deeper into relationships tomorrow, talk a little bit more about that impact that energy has on the people around you, and how you can maybe bring people along the journey with you together. So we're going to be talking about that in the video right here tomorrow. That will be how we build the VIP process around our personal relationships. So if you've been with us, we are now on the downward slope of the mountain. Yesterday we got up to the halfway point, and now we're heading back down to the valley, which is a good thing. We're on day 16 of our challenge, and tomorrow we're going to talk about the VIP process for resilience. See you there.